The first snow of the season fell softly over Manchester, New Hampshire, a gentle hush settling across the streets like a prayer. It was early December, and the chill had teeth, but inside a tiny brick community center near Elm Street, warmth radiated not just from space heaters, but from the heart of its people. Karoline Leavitt stood at the front desk, her sleeves rolled up, hands chapped from the cold and constant work. She was 32, a former congressional aide who had walked away from politics 2 years ago, not with fanfare, but with quiet resolve. Karoline's past life had been defined by noise. Press conferences, debates, the endless sparring of egos behind podiums. But something had broken in her the day she met James Obama, a 10-year-old boy with a haunted stare and no winter coat. He had come into the center one bitter afternoon, trembling from the cold, eyes darting to the food shelves like he expected them to vanish. "Do you have gloves?" he'd asked, voice barely audible. She'd found an old pair in the donation bin, mismatched, frayed, but better than nothing. She knelt to help him put them on, and as she did, her gaze met his. The bruises on his wrists, the way he flinched when she touched his hand. Something inside her tightened like a fist. That night, Karoline sat alone on her couch, TV muted, staring at the glossy campaign posters still rolled up in the corner of her closet. Once, she had believed in changing the world with a microphone and a podium. Now, she was beginning to wonder if the real revolution started in quieter places, with chapped hands, with mismatched gloves. She dug deeper. James's mother was battling opioid addiction. His father had disappeared years ago. He'd been cycling through relatives who couldn't, or wouldn't, care for him. The system had names for kids like James: transient, high risk, vulnerable. But Karoline refused to see a statistic. She saw a child. So she went, gloves off. Not in anger, but in action. No more political pleasantries, no more policies from afar. She filed for custody, leveraged every contact she had, made noise not in speeches but in courtrooms, in caseworker offices, in school meetings. The same intensity she once used for campaigning, she now used to advocate for one boy. The local news caught wind of it. Karoline Leavitt shuts down Obama case, the headline read, a play on her past in D.C. and the boy's last name. But it wasn't politics that drew people's attention, it was compassion. Over time, James began to smile. His grades improved. He stopped flinching. They spent Saturday mornings at the library and Sunday afternoons making spaghetti and painting the walls of the community center. Karoline started a winter gear drive, inspired by James's first timid question about gloves. Word spread. Donations poured in. Hundreds of kids in Manchester now had coats and boots because of a boy who once walked into the center with none. But it wasn't just about warm hands. It was about being seen. One day in February, James, now 12, stood in front of a small group of donors, reporters, and volunteers. He held a microphone loosely, his voice still quiet but steady. "When I met Miss Karoline, I didn't know what a home was. I thought grown-ups didn't care. But she showed me that some do. She didn't give up. And now I'm not giving up either." The room was silent. Tears slipped down faces without shame. Afterward, Karoline hugged him. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. He looked up. "You shut down Obama." She laughed. "I think you did, kid." That spring, the community center received a grant to expand. Karoline was offered her old job back in Washington, twice. She turned it down both times. "I'm already doing the most important work I'll ever do," she said. "Right here." In the months that followed, more kids like James came through the doors. Karoline knew their names. She listened to their stories. She helped them find shoes, backpacks, courage. Her story spread far beyond Manchester. It wasn't just about politics. It was about people. About what happens when one woman decides that change doesn't have to come from the top down, but from the ground up, hand to hand, heart to heart. The day James was officially adopted, he wore a new coat and a broad grin. He asked Karoline if she'd teach him how to speak in front of a crowd. "I want to help other kids like me," he said. "Can I be like you someday?" Karoline squeezed his hand. "No," she said. "You'll be better." Moral of the story. True power does not lie in titles, podiums, or the ability to command attention in the halls of politics or on television screens. It lies in the quiet, unseen acts of humanity, the ones that ask for no recognition but change a life forever. Gloves Off is not a call to battle others, but a call to battle indifference, to strip away the barriers between us and them, and to engage, bare-handed, with the people who need us most. Karoline Leavitt's journey reminds us that the greatest revolutions are not always fought in public arenas, they are often waged in courtrooms for a child's safety, in conversations with broken-hearted families, in late nights spent comforting someone who has never known peace. By stepping out of the limelight and into the lives of those forgotten by the system, Karoline didn't lose her voice, she found it. Her decision to shut down Obama was not a political victory, but a human one. She shut down the idea that a child like James was just another number in a failing system. She shut down the belief that compassion ends at the doors of office buildings or campaign rallies. She shut down the idea that kindness is weakness, proving instead that it is our most powerful tool for transformation. The story teaches us that real leadership is not about being the loudest, it's about being the bravest. It's about standing up when no one else will, reaching out when it's inconvenient, and believing in someone before they believe in themselves. It's about building a better world not through speeches, but through service. In the end, the gloves came off, not to fight, but to feel. To touch the world with empathy. And in doing so, Karoline didn't just rescue a child, she inspired a community, and reminded us all that the path to change begins not in power, but in love.